Peace, peace, world. Yes, it's Miss Shari here, and this is the Uniquely Wired M podcast. So thank you guys for joining. I am here with the beautiful panel of women, Tamika, Kateria, and Shaka Sis, where I would love for you guys to get to know who they are before we get started with today's topic, which is BBLs versus the real deal.
Tamika here. I also go by the scientistpreneur. I'm a forensic toxicologist. I also have three different companies that I run. The first is Xanthine's All Natural Products. It's a product line that's for the entire family. I create everything myself. I also have a education company called Xanthine's Cafe, also known as Camp Wakanda. And I also just recently started a Busy Bee Publications. It's a publishing company to help women get their voices out and become published authors.
Peace and greetings. Really honored to be here. I'm Kateria Knows. I am an astrologer. I have been studying for over 25 years now. I've been in the professional world for about 11 years of astrology, and I'm also the creator of the Real Family Reunion, Return of the Gods, of Royal Celebration, celebrating the great awakening that has taken place on planet Earth.
Hey everyone, my name is Shaka Sis. I'm a performing artist. I'm also an author of a children's book, Hammett, The Story of Osira Noset, and founder of Shopify Brooklyn Jewelry and Finds.
Have you ever considered or wanting to get work done to yourself?
I have. I thought about it. Not the BBL though. That's scary to me. As a scientist, I don't know. It just forming things in the body, manipulating the body in that way. Probably not. But there was a time when I wasn't feeling that secure about myself. Motherhood changes your body. Stuff happens. Some of it is beautiful while you're pregnant, and then after a couple of years of breastfeeding, gravity takes over, and you start not feeling yourself. And so I went for a consultation actually, to get not the BBL, but to get like the diastasis, because I had diastasis recti. So no matter how many crunches I did, my abs wouldn't quite go back the way it. And then they were like, well, if you're going to get that anyway, you should. And I was like, you should do this and this too. But when I walked into the office, it just didn't feel right. Because what they had up on the wall were pictures of people that, were clearly doing it for more cosmetic reasons, and I don't know, it just kind of turned me off. And I was like, am I doing it because I have a problem with my body, or am I doing it because I'm single at the time and I'm concerned about a future partner who didn't create life with me having a problem with my body, right? And so once I analyzed that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just work on myself. And I left it at that. But yeah, I thought about it once.
I actually paid a deposit to get a BBL, and I was 24 years old. And when I went in, at first I was just going to do a tummy tuck because I too have children, and my children are bigger than me. So, I got the pouch going. I cannot say that word that sis said, but I know what she's talking about. But yeah, I had that going on. And so when I went in, initially the doctor was like, oh, well, we can take the fat from your stomach and your hips and put it into your butt. And I'm like, well, that's more natural because it is my own body fat, so on and so forth. It may not cause an eruption of autoimmunity, so on and so forth. So I was like, say less. What do you mean? What? And the price, I was like, I got that right now. Like, let's do this. But when I went in for my pre-op, so I paid the deposit, but when I went in for my pre-op, the doctor, sis was saying how she didn't feel right. I was excited. But the doctors, they stated that they didn't feel right about the procedure. And they literally called me into the back and were talking to me like, yeah, well, we're actually going to give you your money back. We don't feel right about doing this procedure, performing this. And I was like, there's a woman in the waiting room right now, size F titties, about to get a size double Z, and y'all can't give me no booty. Like, are you kidding? I was like, all right, whatever. But I took it as a sign, and funny thing is that I kind of took after sis Tamika, what she was saying. Like, I started to do work on myself instead of me needing surgery physically, soul, and my insecurities. I needed to do surgery that way. And so what I ended up doing is I wore black because I'm one of those women who, after giving birth, I lose a considerable amount of weight. I go from 111 pounds to 98, 94 pounds, you know, and it's really uncomfortable, especially as a Black woman. We're known for our curves. So I was a lot more slender than I am today. And I purposely wore all black around Black men because black makes you look even smaller than you are. And I was ridiculed. I had Black men telling me, oh, let me take you out to eat. You need a burger. Girl, go eat something, so on and so forth. But I did this on purpose every day so I can get beyond my own physical. And after doing that type of a work on myself, and it was really hard. I mean, I've dealt with excruciating insecurities for being a skinny Black girl, being picked on, being made fun of. But after that, like, I got beyond that. I was like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. You know, I love who I am. I'm happy that my arms work, that my legs work, that I can fully function. I have all of the skills and the optimal capabilities of my physical body, and I can love with myself beyond superficiality. But then as time went on, I was able to eat better because I was, you know, plant-based and vegan, which I don't know how much cucumbers is trying to give me any kind of booty. I started to learn different things about myself and my body and my gut, and I was actually able to put on the weight I was looking for. So at the time, I was like 98 pounds, 108 pounds, and now today I'm between 125 to 130. So cakes is there, everything's getting pretty all afternoon. Almond butter. So yeah.
And you got a hubby that love it.
Oh yeah.
So for me, I never considered any plastic surgery. I actually try to camouflage my booty and cover it up because it's too much attention. It's the opposite for me. My son just walked in.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, so for me, yeah, it's the opposite. Like, it's after birth, my butt just becomes bigger and bigger. Like, it's like you heard of Hottentot, like that's really like what it is, like, because that's my mother's butt. So yeah, it's just too much attention. So I try to wear like even bigger clothes and, you know, long dresses. I can't wear anything tight. I just feel very uncomfortable just walking outside with the butt. And people have actually accused me of, you know, having had surgery done because I have skinny legs. You know, so my thighs, you know, really don't match. but it's like the same thing. Like, my body down here is big, but my limbs are very skinny.
Gotcha.
Right? The same thing down with my bottom is that, you know, my thighs and my calves are super skinny, but the butt is just really big. So it's like
wow.
That's true. The same. I never considered it, but I was, as a child, 11 because my legs had a space between it. And it was like I was that skinny. But I noticed, but I also used to be in love with the fact that I had a little bit of both with my skinniness. But as I had children, like my daughter, she gave me some breasts, and my sons, my twins, they gave me a little more booty. But I noticed, like, even though I never considered it, it was like, for me, trying to shape it as if, like, I would put on the shapewear to give me like a 4-hour glass, bring out my hips more or something. But my breasts, people thought that, oh, I had got implants, but I was just milking. I was breastfeeding. And but it was never something that I considered. But I definitely was fascinated with always seeing women with these asses. I'm like, well, how the hell did they get that before really knowing that, you know, oh, they could have easily got something done, you know? Because I remember, like, in the early 2000s, there was like a few video models that just always seemed to have a body, and we didn't. It wasn't such of a big thing to be, made up. I think about Aaliyah, I think about Monica, I think about the old school singers and stuff. It wasn't until we really was paying attention to TV to really know what even all of that stuff was. And I noticed that it was cool to be natural. It was cool to have small titties and wear your shirt where you didn't have, you could have space and didn't really care about the cleavage coming all out. It was cool to wear poom shorts with no butt, because they used to say, oh, if you got a butt, you can't wear those, to where now everybody and their mama just got it was crazy. So I never really considered it, but I was fascinated with how their shape was. It made me like, well, how could I do that naturally, type of thing. Do any of you guys happen to know anyone who has gotten surgery? And we don't have to just do it based on just the butt, but just knowing that work is getting done to people's bodies. It doesn't have to just be even though the butt is the main thing nowadays. Do any of you guys know anyone who has had surgery?
Yeah, I know a few people who's done it.
And how has it affected how they are, rather their personality, or did that grow?
It all depends on why they were doing it, right? So I've seen it go in a number of different ways, but overall, I would say that most people ended up not being happy with it, because they had whatever it represented for them in their life, I feel like was a void that should have been filled in other ways. So once they got it, and they got maybe the attention they were looking for, they realized that it still wasn't really what they were seeking, if that makes sense, right? So it created a kind of depression, because now you're getting all of that attention, but okay, so say you want to get a husband and you feel like, well, my shape is not going to be conducive to attracting this masculine. So now I'm going to contour my body in order to attract this person, right? And now you do it, but think about when you have a connection with somebody, like, the physical really is like the lowest of the totem pole when it comes to that attraction. So the people that are looking at you and wanting you based solely on what you look like, 9 times out of 10 is not the person you want to be your divine masculine anyway. So now they're attracting, the attention in the beginning was great, right? Because it's new and it's exciting. It's something that they never had before. But over time, the intention for getting it did not equate to what they got from it. And so I feel, and this is just my view of them, right? They seem to become more depressed over time. And then they started doing what Sis was saying, which was starting to try to hide it, because they realized that it really wasn't what they wanted.
I know a young lady who had work done. I think she got, the fat taken out of her waist. So it's very thin. She looks really abnormal to me. And then it was put in her booty. I personally feel that this young lady had body dysmorphia because she had a beautiful body. Like, I looked at her body all the time. I'm like, oh, this girl's body is banging. Like, even I'm like, and then she got all this work done. I'm like, okay, what? Like, there has to be something psychological there where you look at your body. Everybody admires your body, and you feel that something is wrong with it, but you have to get rid of it. She got big. She had big boobs. She got bigger boobs. I think now she's even gotten a nose job, so it's becoming worse and worse.
Wow.
None of that kind of stuff was necessary for her.
Yeah, I feel like with her and others that do it, they are known for their bodies, but then these people are out here getting work done and they feel like they're losing their identity, their ego, so they feel like they have to enhance. And it's sad, like even myself, my lips are natural, but I get a lot of on my lips, but I have also gotten people accusing me of having done stuff to my lips. But with me having the lips that I have, like they even call my top lip a lip in surgery, like how my lip kind of over. And I know there were times where I would put lip plumper lip gloss on to make them look even fuller, because I just want to reinforce my identity, But anyhow, I know someone who I actually had a girlfriend who got her body done, and I didn't know when I was like kind of first hanging out with her, but one day she got out the shower and I was like, dang sis, your body is fucking perfect. And she herself was insecure about getting that work done. And then you're hearing these conversations. You're hearing men talking about, oh, I want a woman that's not drawn care. She got a flat booty. You're hearing all of this stuff. But sis got her titties done, her stomach done, and her booty done. And she actually didn't need to do any of that stuff. She had a nice body before. She could have just worked out and toned up, did some squats.
Before we keep going with this, I would love us to take a quick little break. All right, we'll be right back after these messages with some more of this hot topic of BBL versus the real deal. And we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for joining. If you are just tuning in, you are definitely going to have to go back and figure out what we was talking about. But the conversation is about BBL versus the real deal. So we are now also joined by our sister Kays, who definitely will be sharing her thoughts. But the question I have right now is, how do we feel the BBL trend has affected our community? So anyone like to share?
For me, growing up in the 90s and seeing like the slimmer, like that point, it was like Aaliyah, Destiny's Child, everybody was really slim. And I was a thicker girl and I had like a bigger butt. Then I would probably trade the one I had back then for the one I got now. But because that wasn't the trend, I would be made fun of because of my butt, which is kind of weird to live in this space now. Plus, I went to an all-white school on the Upper East Side of New York. So those white girls definitely didn't, have the thickness either. So I was always the thick girl. And so it's just weird to see it over the years, how things change. Because we as women didn't change, right? But it's like the box that they put us in has changed. And so there are different features at the forefront. So before, having the bigger lips, like Kateria was saying earlier, or just like having thicker lips, having thicker anything was not a thing, because we didn't look like, like that community, hip hop, entertainment world. And so now I'm having a little bit of a rough time adjusting to what's happening right now, because all of the features I got made fun of for as a child and as a teenager and as a young adult are now the things that people are pursuing, and killing themselves for. And so having daughters, right, and having them see certain things, because it's not just in the media. You go to the supermarket, you go to, like the doctor's office, and you can tell when somebody is, like not proportionately a certain way. And then you see your little girl looking at it and you're like, no, because you don't know what signals, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know what's being received by them. So I immediately have to jump in and be like, oh, your hair is so pretty today. I just feel so uncomfortable because I don't know how to communicate that. Right. So I feel like it makes you feel uncomfortable with who you are, and this is for the strongest women. We all have our days when it's just like you're scrolling through your timeline and it's like, damn, sis, I want that, right? Whatever that is. And it just keeps reinforcing the insecurities. And so for me, it's like, I realize it's an illusion and a fabrication, because how do we go from just 20 years ago, slim, slim is the thing, that it was slim thick, and now it's just straight bam, bam, bam. So there has to be some kind of, I don't know, just like an illusion there that we are being pulled into as women that just keeps reinforcing you're not good enough, right? And so I think that's how it's affecting us, because if you're somebody like sis said that naturally has it, you have to deal with constantly being accused of doing something that you didn't do, just for being natural. And if you're somebody else that's slimmer, you're also like we just can't win is what I'm trying to say. So I think it creates a lot of division with women. And I personally don't like it at all.
I had a bit of a different experience from what Sis said. I mean, since I was 4 years old, hearing I like big butts and I cannot lie. And I think I was younger than 4, but hearing that song, ever since I heard that song, I've been tortured with my butt and the size of it. And then they had that song, Cece got a big old butt. Oh yeah, doing
in the butt.
Yeah, that song tortured me as well because I have a natural ballerina physique. Now I got curves and everything. Y'all could check out my Instagram and see. But anyways, so then when I was young, I had a boyfriend tell me. When I was dating, I had guys tell me, if they could cut my head off and put it on a thicker girl's body or just all kinds of stuff. And so I have been ridiculed a lot, to a great deal for being slender. So even back in the 90s, I always thought that, the thicker was more attractive to me naturally. And if nobody ever said nothing, I always thought, even when I was a child, just before I saw anything, when I was 2 and 3, I always saw big breasts and round butts and dark skin as being the more appealing and more attractive way to look. But now, when it comes to being in, say, the conscious community, I do see a lot of women who have enhanced themselves, waking up, and they are becoming a part of the enlightened communities. And I'm seeing them getting these modeling gigs, and I'm seeing brothers praising them. And it's kind of confusing because it's like, you're praising these women, and I'm not going to go and shout, that's just, this body ain't real. That's, some hater stuff. But it does get confusing. And I remember feeling a little insecure, like, wow, even in the world where we're supposed to be natural, but people are praising these perfect bodies and they're fake, but we're supposed to be loving natural. So really, if we're going to be in this particular community, people need to be real, and we need to be clear, or we need to get beyond the physical attributes, because a lot of people are enhanced, but we're supposed to be praising natural hair texture, natural skin, natural, less makeup and all of these different types of things. But there's people out here that are perpetuating something totally different, like you were saying about your sis at your event. And people are over here selling workout programs, but they're not giving their doctor's phone numbers. Now, where I'm at today with it is I'm seeing that the BBL trend is dying off. A lot of girls are exposing the doctors. They're exposing what they really go through. They try to talk about how cute your body looks, but they don't talk about the near-death experiences and how deadly the BBL is. Like, even when I went to the doctors and they said that they didn't feel comfortable, I didn't know why until years later why they didn't feel comfortable. But I found out that BBL is the number 1 cosmetic surgery that causes death. Yeah, 1 out of every 3,000 women
2,500 now.
2,500. That's crazy. Die from a BBL. So I am seeing the trend die off. I see, even when it comes to my daughter, like they don't, like, a lot of the children, Gen Z, they don't care about that stuff. They see it as being very silly. They're more so into their pronouns and accepting of people. Like, even my daughter will tell me to wear crop top shirts despite having stretch marks, so I really feel like this trend is going to die off. But for us women, I do see how it can be perplexing, but and confusing, and can create certain insecurities. But where I'm at today, after dealing with someone who did actually have those surgeries and their insecurities and their scars and stuff, I am just happy with and content within who I am. And also because I got my booty naturally, and I gained my weight, and I love it. And I really like my body now. But I did work off in the gym. I worked my ass. I don't want to say my ass off, because I
worked your ass on.
You worked it on.
I ate. You know what I'm saying? So I really feel content. But at the end of the day, when it comes to any insecurities, I don't even care. Like, I did feel affected years ago, but I don't feel affected by nothing that no one does, whether it's real, whether it's fake. It's not going to and who I am is not going to do anything when it comes to my children, when it comes to my son's what he's attracted to and all of that. I don't feel any effects. I'll just continue to educate. And those girls that did fall victim to that, I have no shame against them, because I also fell victim to it too. I just got saved because the doctor stopped me. So I embrace those sisters as well. But those sisters that's trying to shame women that don't have it, like that girl Erica Banks, that bitch for the birds. Like, are you kidding? Trying to say, oh, if you ain't a baddie, if you don't got a BBL, you can't roll with me. Girl, please, you look like an owl in the face. Like, the doctor should have passed through your face too. Like, if you're trying to shoot people who are natural, you know what I'm saying, who aren't enhanced for looking like that, like you a whole fucking bird. And I really have so much compassion. I just look at it from an older woman perspective. I'm about to be 36 years old tomorrow, and I'm just like, you know what? I feel for y'all sisters that y'all fell for that, and my heart goes out to you. I wrap you in love, because at the end of the day, everybody got to come to truth. You know, you got to come to truth in yourself. You know that shit is fake. You dealing with yourself. And then the fact that you got to upkeep this, you got to upkeep it in the gym, and you got to keep going back every 10 years. I feel sorry for those sisters. I don't even feel like, oh, why are you trying to enhance yourself? No, you trying to get my natural body, boy. My body look like, No, I'm like, dang, sis, well, you know what? Praise God that you are still here. And may you find the doctors that will treat you right, treat you well, and may you always be well throughout this, just making this decision for yourself. Like, that's how I feel, because I really feel sorry for them now, is where I'm at. So I digress.
Yes.
I mean, I have more of a question. Like, how did we become like Caucasians? That's literally, like, for me, it's like plastic surgery wasn't really a black thing.
For us, yeah. I remember the lip enhancement and breasts for whites. You know, that was their trend.
That we did. Now all of a sudden it's our culture. Like, how did we come to that? Like, that's the question. Like, do we hate ourselves so much, and we dislike our bodies so much that we feel that we can basically risk our lives to now go under the knife to enhance your body? It's that deep. It's that deep.
It's so true. I feel there's definitely been, I mean, beyond this conversation and type of topic, it's been an attack on Black women in any shape, form, way to have us do things that is not us. It's supposed to be so that it can be less of us, even mind, body, and soul. Like, our mental is actually there. Because I do feel like there's something off. I mean, not to say like everyone has this, but it's just, to me, rather be an insecure or a hurt, traumatic situation, or things that would make you feel like you have to do that. Even if that is something you do after children, this and third, it's just like putting your body in someone else's hands and you trusting that alone, to me, outside of giving birth to a child, is like enough to say like, okay, your mindset is beyond, you know, what I could even fathom, to think that will be, you'll be really okay with this, like I said, 50 years from now, like, you know. But,
yeah, it's about instant gratification. I think that's what it is. It's instant gratification. I want my body to look this way now, so I'm not gonna work out, I'm not gonna do the work, I just want it to be done for me. So in essence, it's laziness. To me, it's laziness, it's insecurity, it's, you know, it's just a lot of things. Laziness. Just work out. Like me right now, I'm the biggest I've ever been. And, you know, I have, you know, a whole bunch of pockets happening or whatever. And, you know, the booty's expanded. And, you know, it's like, get off your butt and do the work. Am I going to go cut my body, get a tummy tuck? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go to the gym and get it together.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. Stop it. Stop with the quick fixes.
That's slim tummy tea.
Hi guys, I have some familiar faces here. Tamika, you're new. But I am a jeweler from the Bronx. I'm a jeweler. Hi, Matt Mashari. And I mean, yeah, that's it. I'm also a chef. So when I also joined the conscious community as well, I started learning like plant-based eating and holistic lifestyle. So I'm really heavily immersed in that. And then like on the side, I do property management. But I'm an artist all around. So I'm from the Bronx. I'm in Jersey now. Yeah, that's me. As far as this topic goes, for me to be on the natural end, I still am like a little bit more understanding than I used to be. Because I grew up with this body. Like I've been curvy since I was young. Like I was also teased for being so curvy because I was accused of being sexually active since I was young, and I was not until I was an adult. Like I was a full adult before I became sexually active. So that was something that I struggled with growing up, and I've always had a big behind. So for me, seeing the trend as I got older, it was a little like new understanding. Like, okay, like this big thickness is like the most attractive thing now, right? Um, I was always happy with having a big butt. I didn't like the accusations, being so sexually active or only being targeted to be a sexual figure for someone. I hated that. So that's not why I love my body. And I think that attraction should be beyond what we physically look like. And I feel like today, that's all it stems to. So if you have a great body, you're like the most revered one, right? Out of somebody else because their figure is different. Now, now somebody like me too, right? That has like I have good, pretty healthy teeth, but they're crooked, right? And I've always had crooked teeth. Someone also let me know that any type of cosmetic surgery would mean that I don't love myself. Like I was told that if I wanted to get braces, I don't love myself because I shouldn't be changing anything about myself because it's natural the way that my teeth are. So someone used that as a comparison to somebody else that gets a BBL because any type of cosmetic surgery that you get is similar to, I'm saying, something else like that. So I've had this type of debate with people. So for me, this is like it's like a fine line there. I don't really know what I could use of what, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I know Shaka, you probably can step in when I express this to the T. You know what I'm saying? She's like, that's not the thing.
I get it. No, but I get what she's saying because
not life altering. That's not something that could cost you your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost you my life. You're absolutely right. It doesn't cost me life because those that are going, we do have people that are losing their life because they are going under. But in reality, too, we have a lot that aren't losing their lives either. You know what I'm saying? So somebody will use that, but I mean, we can't look at numbers because statistically, you don't want to do something that is life-threatening, right? So, no, I won't ever get a BBL. I've considered getting like a breast lift after I've had babies. I'm doing my best to think of what not to do so that I don't have to do that because I love my breast and I will be a breastfeeding mother. So I had these talks also come up, but it's like I don't need that to still be beautiful. I can still let mine hang and do some workouts or whatever I need to do to still be beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not subscribing to needing to do the enhancement because I think that the way that our bodies form through life, especially when you're giving life, and I think that when it comes with age, I think that stuff is graceful.
This isn't about really body shaming anyone who has or haven't gotten. This will be mostly about us sharing our opinions and thoughts of things that are happening within the community with it. I'll backtrack with some of the stuff that I said as far as knowing that, I mentioned there's something in the mind. Because when I do think about, like I said, if I go back to the early days, back in the Baywatch 1993, the women running on the beach, Pamela Anderson, we knew that she had her breasts done, It was a long period of time of knowing that wasn't even something that we considered doing. Unless you was in the entertainment business where you was on Playboy or a porn, it wasn't as saturated as it is now. And then when I look at our community and see that there are young girls that look up to that and will have surgery before they're even full-on teenagers, full-on adults, or even had children, and it's like they think that this is a norm. And I'm like, that's where, to me, it's something there that
Becomes a problem. Yeah.
You
it
think
has
it's like a
caused such an
psychological warfare
it's
on
causing such
Yeah.
an
women?
effect on women to think that they gotta get it this young, and
But even
it's
though,
like
even like what it means to be a woman, like even the word woman has
yes,
transitioned.
because I was also about
Like
to
it's
bring up.
not even like sacred, meaning I don't know much about the LGBTQ community,
First of all,
right?
we're cis women
Right.
in that type
Right.
of community, and
I
Right.
don't know how to function in certain spaces because even saying I'm a woman is offensive,
yeah,
and I don't
it has grown
I don't
so
understand it. I don't know what happened, but it's like there's so much division, right? And I
yeah,
think part of it is pulling it's a pulling away from divine feminine energy, right? Whether you're a man or woman, right? It's something about like totally annihilating divine feminine energy as a whole. Because what happens when you start pulling people into their lower chakras, right, where they're focused more on sacral and root, they start focusing on material stuff, right? It's more about sexual energy and all the distortion of that. And so that's really what that leads to, right? When a
yeah.
man is looking at a woman with a BBL, I mean, like, let's be real. What are the thoughts that are going through his head, right?
He wanna hit
He
that.
want
He
to hit
wanna know
it,
how that look from the back. But going
right?
hold on, but let me just finish this thought before you start back up, Tamika,
No,
because
no, go
I
ahead.
was about to bring up just knowing that the way this trend is going, we can't even just say BBL to women. There's now BBLs to trans, and sometimes men
Men
get
too.
caught up looking at that ass and don't even know there's something between those legs that's just as big as theirs. It's just sometimes they don't even look at that. And one of the clips that I had shared as far as that man saying that as long as it's proportion and it looks natural and stuff, he's okay with it, but not knowing that you don't know who that person is even made, and it's becoming more of a scary trend at this point because everyone is starting to look the same when it comes to that shape, that type of look. Everyone, it literally has become, because outside of just the body, you got the lashes, you got the lace fronts, the long ass nails. It's just like everyone is starting to look literally the same. You can actually start to tell the difference, and it does suck just being a full-on natural woman and being said, "Oh, you got some work done," knowing good and well you never had nothing done, and it's like
Or telling you that you need to get work done because you don't
yes,
look
and
like
then
that, or
making
yeah.
women feel a way about that. Tamika, you can finish your thought, but after this, we're gonna take a little quick break because
No, no,
I
no.
had
Go
a
right ahead. Go ahead.
okay. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned and yeah, locked into this because it's getting juicy. We'll be right back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the BBL versus the real deal. And if you're just tuning in, I'm gonna keep saying it. Y'all gotta start from the beginning because we ain't going back. It's a juicy topic. It's a lot of information that's been shared and said. And yeah, right now we're in closing, and we're talking about solutions and things that come from this particular trend and how we can look at the positive in it and move forward with that. Anyone like to share your thoughts on it?
You want to start out, Case?
Yes. So I think that, as taboo as it may sound or whatever, I think that all of us should engage in some type of therapeutic sessions, whether you don't have to maybe get therapy, but something where you can speak with people, um, to voice like whatever your concerns are about yourself. I heavily believe in holistic health. So I'm always going to encourage working out. I'm going to always encourage natural herbs and doing things that can help with assisting your body with the way that you feel like you want it to be. Um, I believe that surrounding yourself also with people, so outside of social media, which can be very, very taxing on our minds and taxing on what some of our values and morals are, I think that it's important to surround ourselves with people who actually love us as much as we love ourselves, or even more, to be able to give us sound advice on what we feel like we may want to do as far as our physique. Um, I will always encourage natural. Um, However, if you choose to do otherwise, I think that it matters how you go about training your mind and moving forward with how you're going to act with others and yourself. Because really, what matters the most is what we do with our motives. So I think that just speaking to someone that can give sound advice, being able to love yourself and look inward outside of what you feel like you want to look like physicality wise, because internally, who we are inside is what matters the most. That's my advice there.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Kay's. Doing cosmetic surgery on your external does not change your internal, and so we all live in the world that we live in, and we have all of these images coming to us at the same time. Images of the quote unquote perfect woman and what that's supposed to look like. And then we go in the mirror and then we look at ourselves and we're like, I don't look like that. And as a scientist, my concern is always the long term, right? So, for example, the BBL trend is a trend that just kind of popped up. We don't have any, like long term, people that are in their 40s and maybe 40s, but like 50s, 60s, 70s now, right? That can show like what are the long term effects of this particular thing. Because we already proven that most of this stuff is fads. In my lifetime, I'm only 37, and in my lifetime, we done went from skinny to slim thick to BBL, right? So there's a fluidity there, right? There's nothing that's standard. So just thinking about it that way, we're going to constantly have to change the exterior to match what society wants us to look like. And I think if we focus more on the internal, then whatever's happening outside of us is not going to matter. You know what I mean? Like if you're good with you, then you should just be good with you, right? And as far as like changing stuff, I'm a big believer in if you change one thing, you change everything. And so even like on a physiological like anatomy, right? You're carrying around this entire entity. And sis, I know this is natural for both of you both of you here, but it's like you were created that way. So there are things that have adjusted in your body in order to, make it work for you, because that's naturally who you are and who you're supposed to be. But once you start interfering, and that's how I look at it, with God's work, right? Your body is going to have to naturally adjust to this new situation as well. And those adjustments may not be adjustments that you're willing to live with, right? That might mean that if you get surgery done when you're 17, 18, 19, in your early 20s, now when it's time for you to have children, guess what? You may not be able to do so because your body may have changed its chemistry in such a way that doesn't allow that to happen anymore. So you have to think about, what am I willing to sacrifice, right? This for. And I feel like when you get deep in that way, you might start thinking it's not really worth it. Right. And for those women that already done it, because I mean, at this point, I believe there are so many women that have done it and now are regretting it. Right. My heart goes out to you, just like sis said earlier, because I don't know what that looks like. Right. Me putting braids in and then saying, you know what? I ain't feeling it no more. You know what I mean? Like I can just take them out and move right along. But once you've gone through with something like that, I don't even know what that looks like. Right. And so I think that it was created as a way to separate us as women, separate us not just from each other, but from who we are as women. And I think once we get back to realizing how divinely powerful we are, that have nothing to do with physical, right? Even when it comes to attracting a man, natural men and real men are attracted to real women, right? That's just what it is. Everything is just an illusion for them. They're visual creatures. So if you're doing it for a man, guess what? He might be enticed, but when he's thinking about long term and having children and all of that, that's not going to be, as far as the men that I know, that's not going to be something that they're thinking about, right? So I just implore you to think about, what are you willing to sacrifice for I don't even know what the measurements look like, but for that 26, 27 waist with the big old booty, what are you willing to sacrifice for that? And when the trend changes, are you going to be able to do the next trend, right? So I think we should just all get more comfortable with ourselves. And if you choose to do it after that, then that's on you, right? Like sis said, you wake up every morning and you have to deal with that. But if you do have children, I'll leave you, this is my last thought. If you have children, think about it. Your daughter is going to want to idolize who you are, right? So somebody that little Kim, and I'm just throwing her out there because that's the first person that popped in my head, right? Genetically, her children are going to look like how she was naturally supposed to look, right? So now it's like, as a daughter, they're going to idolize who you are, but that's not even really who you are. You know what I mean? So now I want to look like mommy, but mommy has this impossible to achieve naturally, body, right? And whatever else she has going on, I don't look like mommy. What is that going to do to our daughters? And then, moving forward. So it's just about, for me, what are you willing to sacrifice? And if you're cool with the sacrifice, then who am I? But that's what I have to say.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on what you were saying, because my biggest concern is the children. At the end of the day, like, what are these young girls emulating? What do they value? I'm a mother of 2 daughters, and I also teach rites of passage to young girls. So for me, it starts with telling my daughters every single day that they're beautiful. Telling the young girls that I teach that they're beautiful. Like, value your intellect, value, your character, becoming a godly woman, becoming a woman that, is kind hearted and sweet and loving, and, a woman who is ambitious and, does what she needs to do in the world and makes change in the world. At the end of the day, it's about your values. Like, is your body going to define you? Like, is that what we're looking at as young women? Does your body define you?
Sure.
It shouldn't. My husband loves me bigger than when I was, Miss Skinny Minnie. He can't get enough of this, this little extra weight. I'm like, okay, let me get rid of it. But he's like, no, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you value?
Yeah.
Because looks fade. You're going to get older. There are going to be wrinkles, unless you fight age, and get the Botox. And then you look like, a science experiment.
I look like a cat. They look like cats.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what you're going to end up looking like. You're going to end up looking like a cattish science experiment.
Yeah.
Going under the knife. It's not natural. But then it's like you're focused so much on the external and not focusing on the things that you need to work on internally, not working on your character, not working on, your principles, not working on your values. And that's what you're teaching the children.
Right.
Yes.
So it has to be beyond just us.
Mm-hmm.
What does the future look like for Black women?
Yes.
What does it look like? If we don't switch it up quick,
that part.
What it's going to look like. People who don't have values, who just care about externals and the superficial, that's what it's going to be. We got to switch it up.
Right.
Well, to piggyback off of all 3 of y'all and add a few more cents to that, first of all, Shaka, I was with you like when we were skinny minis before our sons came into our lives because
Now you're both thickums.
yes, right.
It's like, what
But
happened?
I know, girl. I thought I ain't gonna lie, cause I mean I went back down some, but I'm okay with not being how skinny I was. Like I ain't gonna lie. People used to say, "Michelle, you look sick." Like, I wasn't sick. I just was always slim. Like
Wait, but mommy weight is very beautiful.
It is.
thank
I
you.
can't I can't wait to get hips because I have no hips. And I always tell people, oh, you can get, of course, obviously you can go get that done. And I was like, no, my children gonna give it to me. My
They
children
will.
gonna push it
Yeah, they
out.
will. They
Oh,
will.
I can't wait.
But I just remember how I distinctly know how you looked before the boy, and I remember I was just like that. Like we didn't look like we had kids at all. You know, we
Yeah,
busted
it's
out
true.
with
People
our
like,
kids.
yeah.
Yes, right. So I remember that look, and I was always called that. Oh, you got a white girl shape, or that white model girl shape type of thing. And just to piggyback off, but also mention when I think of white women and just knowing that trend is not as big, but they're getting butts the natural way, being in the damn gym.
Yeah.
Like literally, I see them in the gym working on their asses. And as much as they started with us, but because we are doing it in a way that is not natural, is like, yeah, they know what they're doing with that. But if I take a step back, as well as I wish more of us did, and look at what these trends are doing to the black women, to the melanated women, and not just the community, all over the world when it comes to this look, because America is looked at for a lot of things, rather be a guinea pig look or like a test look. We're from the way what the food we eat, what we watch, what the trends we choose to allow our kids to be a part of. Is so much outside of just the BBL that is like really not really making us look good. But I would encourage more of, yes, loving on yourself, loving on women. There's so many women that has fake friends, or just know that they don't have that real intention of anything good. Making sure if you do decide to even think about that, you are having opinions from strong black women that are either letting you know, sis, it ain't worth it, or sis, I'm gonna tell you right now, I did it and it ain't worked for me, and I'm just encouraging you, put your money towards investing into something. Or it's just like some real impactful leaders to help within, just that you'll know that you can go to when it comes to this, because it does, to me, determine your friends, your family, people that you surround yourself with, and when I do look at, yes, our children are the biggest when it comes to being able to make or break what we already been a part of, what we've been dealing with. If they are not making it, then it's just gonna set it for generations to come to just be like, what the heck is up with the melanated community? And we're more than this, just these trends. And yes, I would definitely encourage, especially young women, to, yes, I love you. You're beautiful. You don't need to do anything to your body. I'm grateful that I don't have that type of trend in my family, to where I know women that's made. Everyone is just as natural as they want to be. So I look at that, and it's okay to not have a phone. It's okay to turn off your phone or take certain apps off that will probably influence certain things. And then, like I mentioned in the last conversation, I don't feel all children should be having phones, because the way things are made, the way things are set up, is just like, yeah, they're going to see trends, and it will be up to us to fight against what the world is teaching them, so we are their first teachers. So that's definitely something I look at as, okay, speak to them, speak love into them, encourage putting your mind and your money into things that is worth it, not, something that could easily, mess you up or hurt you in the end, or kill you overall, So yes, that will be something I'll add to what you all have brought up and said. So yeah, we actually went a little over with this one, but I'm so grateful and appreciative of this panel, including Kateria, who had to go. But I want to thank all of you I want to thank the audience who have watched and shared or probably like had their thoughts. You can always write it in the comments. We want to hear from you. But thank you all for this episode. And yes, until next time, have a beautiful day, night, evening, wherever you at. And we'll talk soon.
Good night, ladies.
Good night.